All right, here it is. We got the Voyagers from Power of the Primes in today. So now we're just waiting on the Primes, Rodimus and Optimus, which hopefully those will be hitting soon. But here is Starscream, the first of the two Voyagers in his jet mode. And I gotta say, I kind of enjoy this figure. He's not great. I'll put that out. He's not the most amazing character or figure of Starscream ever. But I'm having some fun with him. So, your mileage may vary. I know some people have already seen it. And then, like I said, there's some stuff to nitpick on it, and we will. But here he is in his jet mode. And he's just got his null rays. They attach under the wings, which is a little odd. But you can't, if you put them up here, they look a little too far forward, and there's no real port to attach them into the arms otherwise. So they just peg it up here under the wings. And, again, look a little awkward. You don't have to have them on. We'll go ahead and pop them off anyway. You can also attach, he comes with prime armor that the instructions show can also plug in, which of course is the feet. Now this is how the smaller, the deluxes came with the hand pieces that had a slot, a little cover and a slot to allow for the primes to attach. This is how Starscream would interact with a prime figure. You could attach a prime there. There's Victor Prime. In his prime armor, these can attach to his arms as well. There's another tab that flips out underneath. This is more the ankle joint. But, so yeah, they function as prime receptacles. The Voyagers also come with their own little enigma of combination. Starscream has the Secret Enigma, which is just a red piece of plastic with some purple paint on it. That can also store here in the foot piece if you want, or in the chest of the combiner, which we'll get to later on. So yeah, but there is his jet mode. And let's talk about this one for a little bit, because from the top, it's not bad. There are the stickers. We'll get to the stickers. But basic shape is not bad. It's kind of a neat looking jet. The little landing gear folds up. From the side, you can see it gets a little clunky in the back. The feet don't fold up because this is where the arm ports are. The feet don't fold up any more than that, and folding them forward just makes it even clunkier. But as a basic jet, it's okay. Again, thicker at the back, but still fun. He's fun to swoosh around. I can't argue that. What's ridiculous is when you take him and you stand him up like this, because you can see it's just a little squatty, smushed Starscream, and the only reason he doesn't even look even more like just a robot literally wearing a jet on his back is because his head is turned around, which is in the instructions. But if you turn his head around, you can see he's like he's like an Oompa Loompa with a jet on his back. So, and for that, actually has some interesting bits to his transformation, but he kind of loses the illusion of a robot in disguise when you look on this. Like, I feel like he suffers more as a robot with a jet on his back than a lot of some of the ones that we have previously accused of being so. But yeah. Now the stickers. They are less egregious in person, but still annoying, because you can see there's clearly molded detail underneath here that's being covered up. I'm tempted to peel these off, and I'm sure Repro Labels will come up with a much nicer set of stickers for him, at which point maybe I will probably finally pull all these off and see what's under there. The thing is, the silver, you don't need this silver. The silver really adds nothing. You already painted some red up here. I don't know why you couldn't have done just a simple little red stripe, maybe tampo a Decepticon logo in, maybe even a slightly smaller one to fit into this recessed area you can see in the sticker here. But tampoed one up here, he does have D22 on him, so it'll call back to his old Japanese designation number, D22 on the wings, ghost attack. Lots of little call-outs and references. And again, some stickers that look similar to the stickers on the old toy, but I don't think... Like the white and blue and red works well together. I think just a couple simple tampos or paint apps here on the wings would have made it. And even these little, even the shiny bits on the tail are stickers. Just a lot of stickers that I don't know that you need. Here's a little kill count sticker that adds a bunch of silver to this side of the jet just for the sake of adding some little Autobot crossed out symbols. And then nothing on this side. And I don't know if that's a missing one or if that's just how it's laid out. So yeah, and then there's some little detail stickers around, but none of them, they're all intended to evoke some old detail on the toy. These two actually kind of fit in the slot allotted for them. These, you can see, don't fit well because they're just rectangular stickers placed over molded detail. The ones up here aren't bad. They actually fit within the little vents here on his chest and don't look horrible. The Decepticon logo here is not bad. The ones on the tail, again, it's a shame that those are stickers, but they look okay. Even the top part of this wouldn't be horrible, but I feel like you could have gotten the same effect by just having that red paint there, and maybe even just a quick, just the yellow, just a quick tampo of yellow there to break it up a little bit would have been much more attractive than these shiny, easily peeled, thin stickers that again are clearly pushed down over detail that doesn't match the design on the sticker. I'm harping about them a little more than I should, really, for time-wise, but yeah, like I said, they're annoying. They're not needed, but they're also not. I can let them slide, especially since they're probably going to either get pulled off or replaced eventually anyway. But I do question why we had to have just so much of this coverage and stickers. Like I said, there's a few places where they work and work well that I have no problem with, like the knees here, the tail fin. Those are all fine. It's just it's really these big wing ones that I think are the most offensive or egregious, and these two on the feet. Get rid of those, and you'd have a pretty solid toy. Oh, and this one. Anyway, let's go on to transformation. So to go from jet to robot, go ahead and untab the wings from here. And from here, they're tabbed into the arms. The arms are tabbed into the legs. Someone asked me on Twitter earlier, can you have the combiner ports flipped out in the hands for jet mode? And you kind of can, and we'll show that off just real briefly. You can flip this out, close this back up, and have the arm come down. But if you do that, it no longer tabs into the leg itself, and the whole shape of the arm, it bumps up against this, so it doesn't, and you can't tab the wing into it. You can still kind of, because of the empty space up here in the wing, you can have this closed in such a way that it really isn't super obvious that it's not tabbed in, and all the joints are stiff enough that you can have it like that. So it is possible to do it, but it does affect the ability to tab together securely. So anyway, we'll go ahead and flip that back out to a fist and bring that panel down. So basically just undo that, bring the arms out, untab both these two side pieces. They tab into the back here, and then this whole cockpit assembly, just lift that all up like that. Bring the arms out, the legs come down, and they extend on this blue hinge up into here. And once they're up here, this panel flips up. There's a little peg here that pegs into the knee. It fills in the leg and locks them together, which is a pretty nice little mechanism, all things considered. So they could have just had this as a loose knee up here, because it still functions as a knee, and it's tight enough that it's not folding down super easily, because it does kind of snap into place. You can see there's a little blue tab here in the leg that snaps in under there, but it also locks in on this side and fills in some of the hollowness. That's kind of a neat little bit. The other neat bit here is once you get to this point, this whole assembly rotates around, and it looks like it should peg in, but this peg is just short enough to not do it. You can kind of force it in, and it almost kind of feels like this, whatever this connection back here is, should slide in and out a little bit to allow for that to peg in securely, and it doesn't. Oh, mine is starting to stress, so it is kind of starting to stress. That's a red peg in there. It's kind of hard to see on the camera. Not horribly so, like I'm not worried about it breaking, but it's a little disturbing. So yeah, bring this around, rotate this up, and then these are going to peg in here, like that. You fold these around. Now these are only intended to go down to about right here, because if you fold them past that, the fuselage gets a little wider and it starts to push them out. You can do that and it won't damage them. They're designed that if you do use too much force, these are on just little clip pieces. They pop right off. So you're not going to break anything irrevocably if you push them down too far. But if you don't want to bend that tab too much, or who knows how long it'll last if you do. So just bring them down just a little bit like that. Don't push them all the way flat. And then turn his head around, bring his arm down, turn his head around. And officially, there you are in robot mode. Now, what I like to do, because they're on hinges, is I like to hinge this back one and then flip the outer wing out one. It just gives him a little bit more room to move his arms than that, and makes the wings a little bit more dynamic than just straight pieces sticking out there. There he is in robot mode. You can take his guns and attach them directly to his shoulders. I generally do that. They are a little short and they seem a little dinky, but they don't look too bad. The other option, again, if you want to have him use his prime armor, whether incorporating a prime or not, is you can kind of fold this back, flip out this peg. There's a peg hole in the back that you can also plug hands into to support the heel, but they also work in that you can plug the null ray into them and then attach them up here. So now he's got the prime armor that, again, let's do a different one this time, can accept a prime. So now he's got the power of Liege Maximo in there, as well as, I think his null ray is a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Give him a little bit more range past his fist. And again, and because of this, of course, he can now have the power of 2 primes attached to him while he's messing around. If you want to, you can even stick one back here in his cockpit. But so you can have 3 primes, but yeah, that's mostly for the combined mode. And just a real quick compare. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and take these off and put just his basic null rays back on, because I feel like that's really his base configuration. The prime armor is nice, but just to give you the base Starscream without any of the combiner bits. First off, he's got a head on a ball joint. He can look a little up and down, side to side, ratcheting shoulders in both directions, bicep swivel, hinged elbow, no wrist swivel because of the combiner port gimmick, no waist swivel, ratcheting hips side to side and front to back. Well, they don't ratchet front to back, but they ratchet side to side. Thigh swivel, that knee hinge there, which is not popping loose, and some toe articulation, but again, that's mostly just there for the combiner port. Here he is with Deluxe Dreadwing from the Wave 1 Deluxes. And just for fun, part of the reason that I wanted him in Voyager class was because here he is with the Titans Return Megatron. And they scale really well together, I think. And again, I know some people have complained about the chubbiness, the Popeye arms and the big legs. I really like this look. I like his robot mode. You don't have to. I'm not saying you have to. I get why people dislike it. But the more I mess with this and the more I look at that, the more I kind of dig this Starscream's robot mode. Yell at me, correct me, slam me if you will, but I do. So now, let's go on to his combiner mode. Alrighty. So, pop these off for the moment. Oh, also real quick, he comes with his manual. And again, there's no official name for his combined mode. It's just the generic. Use these first, Wave 1 Deluxes to make Starscream, even though it looks like Darkwing and Dreadwind and maybe a couple other figures will be part of him. And here is his card with the cool art there. It's a really nice art, actually. And I got Quintus Starscream. And he gives life to an army of his own, which fits Starscream actually pretty well, considering he does, in fact, have his little brigade. Which are all army vehicles. Or military. Anyway. Space shuttle. And whatever. So anyway, let's transform him into his combined mode. And we do that by, as I mentioned earlier, flip these panels up. You actually want to lift them out and up on this hinge. Rotate the combiner port out. Push this, continue pushing that all the way up, and then tab into the slot here on the outer armor. Also helps if you have this straight. Come on, there we go. There we go. Same on this side, straighten the arm. And if you push the arm all the way back, it locks, because otherwise he'll have sideways bending legs, which can help in some situations. But bring out the combiner port, push this up, and tab that all together. Raise his arms up above his head. Rotate this whole piece around like this. Lift these up. And then his legs, open up like this. Go ahead and open these panels back up. Rotate them like this, and then just kind of collapse them down so they sit at like an angle like this. Now you'll notice there's a slot here on this side and a tab on this side. So once you get to this point, you want to make sure you don't want to just push them together. You kind of have to slide, overlap them like that, and then slide them together, lock them in like that. And then flip the feet down. Go ahead, open up his robot mode chest like this. Pull out his combiner mode head, at which point you can push his robot mode head. Actually, you might want to turn it around so he's not looking out through what's essentially his butthole. You can hide his head up there in the body. Bring these around and rotate them forward so that panel's in the front. Those are going to be his legs. Bring these up and tab them in. The fin goes into the slot there. Be careful not to mush this too badly. So like that. Bring his head up. Flip out this fin, this little, not fin, panel, and bring that down, and that panel is going to slot right into there behind the cockpit. Bring his head up, turn it around. So he's got this crown, the King Starscream. These panels then, you can leave this closed or not. These panels flip up, tab on right here, and tab on right here. And there essentially is his very movie Starscream-esque torso. A couple of options. It does say you can store the guns. There's the screw hole back here on the thruster. You can store his small guns here. You can also open this up and place either a Prime Master or so you can activate a Prime that way. It's intended to be the Enigma combination to show that he's a combiner. You could also, maybe his combined form has given him the power to finally defeat Megatron, and he can carry his head around as a warning to everyone else. Don't mess with me, I killed Megatron. But it is intended for the Enigma, and we'll go ahead and pop that one in like that. You can kind of close it around the Enigma, but it doesn't. If you have something in there, the cockpit does not close all the way. So it's up to you whether you don't have to display it with the Enigma. You can put the Enigma in one of the feet or hand pieces if you wish, and same with any of the primes. So there's his torso. Let's go ahead and connect some dudes to it. So we'll take Jazz here and one of the foot pieces here, and we'll plug that into Jazz's foot mode, and then we'll attach it. Again, if you've played with any Combiner Wars figures, it's the exact same type of combination. And you just lock that in there, and then lock this back together because Jazz wants to be a butt. Come on. There we go. Whatever. So there's Jazz as a foot. We're going to use Swoop as the other foot, because I happen to have him here in leg mode already. So we'll lock that in. I thought about using all four of the main deluxes, bringing up Slug and all that, but I do have two Dreadwinds, and he looks really good. He looks really good combined with Jets. So for his upper arms, we'll use a couple Dreadwinds. And those just slide in here on the top in the same kind of and there we go. There he is in his combined mode. He's got a lot of little hinges. So, and also this is not the greatest grippy surface that he's standing on. I do have some is kind of slippery plastic, so let's get them all flat here. Oh, come on now. There we go. Just get him standing, just to give you an idea. And he's actually not a bad-looking combiner. Okay, those two, his legs, are a little off, gotcha, but he looks really good with Jets. Like, I want to get a couple other Jets for his legs, maybe get a couple Darkwings and do it that way. But he really looks good. Somebody posted a picture of him the other day combined with the Combaticons from obviously Combiner Wars. And he looks really good with his brigade, so that might be an option as well. But like I said, you can put any of the combination or any primes in the slot in the feet, in the slot in either the hands. You can pop the little cover out, and he can power up with a prime in each fist. However you want to do it. So conceivably, he can be powered up with 5 different primes in a combiner mode. Each foot, each hand, and right there in the chest. You can really amp these guys up with your imagination if you're playing with these dudes. But yeah, like I said, it's actually pretty. Like swoop isn't. These guys are not cooperating here, and also be careful with your swoops. His foot broke right there at the hinge, so be careful with that. I do have a replacement, so that's not a big deal. I picked one up on the way home, and this is what I was talking about. If you don't lock the elbows, his legs get floppy, so make sure those are locked in place. I wish the hinges both seem to be off, kind of in that same way that seem to be off a click from each other, which is a little bit of a shame. And like I said, the knee joint, his problem standing is not really with STARSCREAM, it's with the hinges here. They're not locking on swoop or jazz very well. But all in all, as I said, he's a neat combiner. Could probably stand to have bigger feet. And like I was saying, real quick, let me show off the. If you have extra hands, like I said, you can take them, fold them out. I guess you can actually have these feet facing either way. It's probably either better have them facing this way because there's a little tab that would get in the way on the foot. But you can take it and you can plug it into the back of the foot here and give it a bigger kind of heel stability. You don't need it. Like I said, when everything's all together pretty solidly, you don't need that extra support on the foot, but it's nice to have that option if you want. So yeah, I know there are some complaints. I wish the stickers were something different. I really do. But overall, and it's like his transformation is, at least he looks very basic with the way he's just kind of squatting under the jet. I get the complaints, but complaints aside, he is actually a pretty fun little STARSCREAM.